मेदिनि विश्वविनोदिनि नन्दिनुते गिरिवरविन्द्य शिरोदिनि वासिनि विष्णुविलासिनि जिष्णुनुते भगवति हेशिति कण्ठकुटुम्बिनि भूरि कुटुम्बिनि भूरि कृते जय जय हे महिषासुरमर्दिनि रम्यकपर्दिनि शैलसुते सुरवरवर्षिणि दुर्धरदर्शिनि दुर्मुखमर्षिनि हर्षरते त्रिभुवनपोषिनि शङ्करतोषिनि किल्बिषमोषिनि घोषरते धनुजनिरोषिनि दितिश्रुतरोषिनि दुर्मखतोषिनि सिन्धुसुते जय जय हे महिषासुरमर्दिनि रम्यकपर्दिनि शैलसुते जय जय हे महिषासुरमर्दिनि रम्यकपर्दिनि शैलसुते जय जय हे महिषासुरमर्दिनि रम्यकपर्दिनि शैलसुते
Hi guys, thank you for joining the live stream. I hope the audio is coming fine. Today we have back with us Professor Christoph Leiselot. Hello, Professor.
Hi.
So today we are going to discuss something that was initially sent to us by our viewer Niner here, with a very interesting claim that I kind of thought was not right based on just rudimentary reading of the people involved in it. Though I did find some lines here and there which seem to support our arguments as well on caste. His argument basically was that this seems to be similar to what we are saying, which is that caste are what is caste? Caste is status groups, and it functions in probably in some way or the other everywhere. What we have in some portions of India, in some states of India, or albeit of course with the state's help, with incentives from the state, is a sort of a cosplaying and fancy dress competition sort of a way of displaying your past status groups. But we have status groups operating in the similar ways in the name of the traditional castes in places like West Bengal as well. So I thought this will go more in the direction of the Isabel Wilkerson line of argument, which is that race and caste are the same things, and racism and casteism are the same things, which we argue are not exactly the same things. So this is a 64-page report, so we won't be able to go through it completely. We will look at some key points, key highlights, the summary. We'll go through those parts first and foremost. But before I ask, so we got Mr. Sociologist here to basically clarify these things as well. He has also gone through it more or less. We'll check out Niner's arguments as well. I'm not going into the comment section at all today because we are in a hurry, because this is going to be probably a gigantic paper to discuss. It's not exactly a paper, but it's reports of sorts. But I just want you to show you, this is something I think the print covered. There's some Hindu activism group in USA who have already filed some report or filed some accusation against the Rutgers University for bringing out this report. Okay, so we'll check out that as well. What's their opinion? That's also an important part of this conversation. Let me just show you that first. Yeah, this is in India Today World Desk. Okay. Right. So, India Today has covered this, that report claims caste discrimination on Rutgers campus, but has no supporting data. Okay, this is the headline. The headline actually is agreeing with the people who have countered this report. The headline of India Today is saying that this report by Rutgers is claiming caste discrimination, but it has no supporting data. So interesting. They are not even playing neutral here. Pretty interesting that India Today actually is agreeing with them already. Then a Rutgers University task force, co-chaired by Professor Audrey Truschke, released recommending a caste be added as a protected category under the university's discrimination policy. The report relies on anecdotal testimony and admits there is no systematic data. Admits there is no systematic data to support that caste discrimination exists on campus. This is initially basically the claim of that group as well. Let's just check out what's the name of that group who filed this against this report. what's the name of the group? Office of Employment. COHNA also did this. I saw some other name as well. If anyone can find that report, let us know. Yeah, this is another one that I found from the print. यहाँ पे वो नाम दिया गया था कौन से ग्रुप ने ये अप्रोच किया. कास्ट फाइल्स. ओके, ये है नाम ग्रुप का, ऋचा गौतम ऑफ कास्ट फाइल्स. ओके, so now let's start with today's paper. So based on your cursory reading, Professor, what did you understand of it? What did you make of it?
I first had some hope because of how excited Nina was. And there are some things I would say are actually not that bad. For example, if you do a control F and do Hocart, HOCART.
These are the people mainly involved, by the way. Okay, Corinne Castro and Audrey Rushki herself.
Wow, no,
And
not
other people
even,
include
no Indians either, like of any caste. Just a view.
Navneet
I think
Sahu, I
there are a
guess.
few. There are a few. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Navneet Sahu, Anand Sarwate. These are the
Fahima
main people.
Mohideen.
Probably Indian only, or who knows.
South Asian. Anyway.
Yeah.
So, control F मार के थोड़ा Hocart पे जाओ.
What's the spelling of Hocart?
HOCART. Yes. So, if you remember, Declan Quigley's whole thesis is based on Hocart's ideas, right? So, in that sense, the fact that they have brought back Hocart instead of Dumo, see, because if they bring back Dumo, then they can't make a very good logical argument because Dumo stands destroyed at this point. Dirks, Dipankar Gupta, Quigley, Raheja, Srinivas, everyone's arguments destroy basically Dumo's argument. So
is this sort of a stamp on this so-called consensus that Dumo is to be discarded for now? Then again, at least in the next generation of scholars.
Abhi no serious academic relies on Dumo anymore. Okay,
I see.
Dumo
Except in India.
होता है, but even in India they will also not really cite Dumo. The last few years you will not see a lot of positive citations of Dumo. Okay?
I see.
Because what Dumo wrote cannot be found in reality. मतलब Dumo ने जैसे लिखा था कि Brahmins enjoy superior power based on their religious hierarchy and pollution, ritual pollution, purity. वो मिलता ही नहीं है कहीं पे. Okay. His ideas are basically useless at this point. Okay. But ये problem है कि when he was popular, that built the consensus on caste.
Right.
This is post 1970s. So this is the main problem. We have the ghost of Dumo right now. We don't have Dumo itself. I mean, Dumo's dead anyway. But we are fighting with his ghost. Okay. And that's why do just control F and you will find that write purity. Okay. Just do control F and write purity. Which is Dumo's most problematic and primary problem. Okay. That why I'm saying that this is not, I'm not as hopeful of this thing. Yeah, precisely. See, they use Yengre. Okay, the great sociologist Yengre, and they talk about discrimination premised on purity and pollution. Kaha se ye वापस आ गया? So the problem is that these are the terms that show me that they have not changed. Okay, जब भी purity and pollution आ जाएगा वापस, then Dumo also enters the conversation. Okay, and their shame, communal ostracization, that, all these things. So let's say you can still make some sense of the rest. Okay, enforced endogamy, all that stuff, right? That is there, but ye jab bhi purity pollution ghusa doge, you are essentially still, देखो, why is purity pollution as a concept such a problem? Okay, purity pollution is such a problem because the biggest, देखो, Islam, Christianity, they don't really have concepts of ritual purity and pollution. What they do talk about is believer and non-believer. Okay, so whenever you bring in purity and pollution, you are bringing in something like Brahmanism. Okay, मतलब indirectly, देखो, whether it is actual, what is real, I'm not even talking about that, because we saw yesterday that Dayavati Rai is saying Communist Party जो लोग ब्राह्मण का कुछ कोई मनुस्मृति वेद कुछ नहीं पढ़ता है वो सबसे ज्यादा casteist है. That part is there, but we know that. But the moment you emphasize purity and pollution, they are attacking the very religious basis of Hinduism. Okay, which
Now,
still has elements of purity and pollution. Now, where is this
right.
purity and pollution? This is based on Shraddha and all that, like what Brahmins do, the activities that Brahmins do, right? Like the Brahmin priest does.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
So
have
now,
a
that is the main problem that I have.
I have a specific question on the purity pollution issue. What's the consensus in academia that purity pollution also stems directly from the Manusmriti and Indian texts? Because I have read some Western scholars where they also show purity and pollution. Pollution is a general concept that exists everywhere, like the
Yes,
scapegoat
like
concept.
Mary something, I keep forgetting her name. The danger, purity and danger or something.
Right.
There was a text. Now,
So have they been able to put this only on Hinduism?
देखो, problem ये है कि all kinds of good literature does exist, but these people they are tugging at an interface which is more popular, pop psychology जैसे बोलते हैं ना, some terms.
Yeah,
Okay, pop sociology,
right.
pop history. Okay, basic stupid stuff that most people think they know but they actually don't. So whenever they use this kind of देखो, एक और चीज देखो, why I'm saying this is a problem. As it is, firstly, these guys have their own like TikTokia followers, okay, who think they also know a lot, but they don't. Now, on top of that, look at the kind of problems they are looking at. So go to the next few points. Contest to hierarchical sanctity, stigma and shame to discuss the issue of caste. ये क्या है? Okay, stigma and sanctity. तुम एकदम कम्युनल ऑस्ट्रेसाइजेशन कौन करता है? कौन ब्राह्मण का इतना दम है कि कम्युनल ऑस्ट्रेसाइज कर देंगे लोगों को? I haven't ever seen a Brahmin who's powerful enough to do that except in the CPIM. Okay. Now inferiority granted to certain groups based on their birth, ये तो हर जगह होता है, ये बोल बोल के हमारा मुंह एकदम थक गया है. Justification for the existence of the system. देखो, this is where Dipankar Gupta comes into play, and this is where again they are talking in a Dumontian language. Okay,
yeah.
ये सिस्टम काहे लाए हो? सिस्टम तो है ही नहीं कास्ट का. We are going on, discussing, saying that caste has no system. Caste is a cluster of status groups in a localized area, where it is your birth might give you some birth, land ownership, these kind of, or jobs, they might give you some kind of advantages, but and respect and power. But ये जो सिस्टम है ना, ये जब सिस्टम में ले आएंगे, they will again talk about how the वर्ण जाति सिस्टम operates. वर्ण जाति का कोई सिस्टम था नहीं, because even if there was a वर्ण जाति ranking system, that did not work as the textbook intended in the system, in society. It never does.
Because why else would there be discrepancies in every district? As it's not like Raja Manu wrote the Manusmriti for different villages, right? तो differences आया कैसे? तो कौन follow कर रहा था? कितना डिग्री तक follow कर रहा था?
ये देखो, next status of lower order calling names to, ये ठीक है. Next वाला देखो, used in reference to or instead of racial theory. ये कहीं का कहीं से घुसा दिया है. हाँ, we ourselves discussed how Ambedkar said that race के साथ कास्ट का कोई लेना देना नहीं है. फिर भी अच्छा, banned from position of higher status in power. कौन करता है? We have a Dalit, we have a tribal president who is the highest status in this country.
No,
prime minister.
I think they're talking about USA's universities where
अच्छा कहाँ पे
Brahminical.
ये होता है? I want to know where did the Brahmins ban Dalits from becoming professors or teachers or dean, ये वो जो भी हो, अच्छा positions of power? Have they ever actively barred? I don't know. Can they bar someone based on his surname in America? I really doubt what kind of rubbish these people are coming up with. Okay.
What their argument is that Brahmins, like they operate as the deep state and Hydra in India, in the similar way, the Hindu CEOs and billionaires also have a closed club where they have decided amongst themselves that we are not going to have any Dalit CEOs and Dalit heads of the companies and stuff in future as well. That is how they are furthering their Brahminism.
नहीं वो if Brahmins have been able to do this, then there would have been like proper system. I'm pretty sure in America, they can call for class action suits, all kinds of anti-discriminatory laws without even caste. Like I'm sure that discrimination based on one's birth is forbidden in America by law, right? So
Yeah,
they could have
every
done
first
that.
world country and India.
Yeah. So how is it that we've never heard of these things before? That is the main other problem that I have. Like before 2020, before Wilkerson wrote the book, and these great sociologists and all who are coming up, historians and sociologists who are coming up with these things, who again, who are often always saying stuff against Hinduism, right?
Hmm.
If they are suddenly finding all this, how come I how come we never heard of these things in the last maybe 50 years? ऐसा तो नहीं है कि Indians are going to the US like for the last 10 years, right? Indians have been going to the US for a very long time.
Hmm.
So we never heard of these things. Why is it?
उनका वॉइस
So
सामने आने नहीं दिया गया.
हाँ, ये नीनर बोला दलित यूएस प्रेसिडेंट इज नीडेड टू फिनिश कास्टिज्म.
Exactly.
तब वो कमला हैरिस का तरह वो चेंज हो जाएगा. हाँ, you bring Kamala Harris, they'll say अभी भी डिस्क्रिमिनेशन है उसके खिलाफ.
Yes.
हाँ. So these things, the problem is that the terminology they are using, they are very much dependent on the terms that have been popularized by Dumo and his supporters. Okay.
Right.
So Dumo का ऐसे use नहीं कर रहा है, but more or less they are doing. Right.
Right.
So
let me see if what kind of mentions they have of Hinduism or Indian society.
अच्छा Dumo मार के देखो तो I didn't find Dumo. Check
Okay.
तो.
अरे what's this edge thing in my front of my face? अरे I don't want edge. अरे मुंह के सामने ला दिया and I don't have the option of closing it. अब मुझे turn on imported extensions बोल रहा है. This is why no one uses these browsers. रुको. I'll have to open it again. Rutgers Caste report. Yeah, Dumo. Nothing on him. Let's see what they're talking about, saying about India.
So Dumo को एकदम मतलब ये लोग sideline कर दिया क्योंकि if they say Dumo, there is enough written against Dumo to actually contest their claims. Okay. So they are going to Hokart. Hokart से होके कहाँ से? They will not go into Quigley, by the way. हाँ, Hokart लेके they will say that हाँ ये तो हर जगह कैटेगरी मिलता है. But the primary aspect of what Hokart is saying is being lost on them. मतलब lost नहीं, वो मतलब deliberately they are trying to do that. So ये देखो ये सब जो है, these are all kinds of क्या बोले anecdotal stuff. Okay. ये एक्चुअली कोई कुछ हुआ कि नहीं, इसका कोई प्रूफ, रिकॉर्डिंग, पुलिस कंप्लेंट, देयर इज नथिंग लाइक दैट.
I don't get this. Is this bullying based on caste and cancel marriages happening in USA or India? I think she's talking. She's saying that she came out as Dalit, like the girl who is the head of Equality Labs was also saying. I was checking out a speech by her in the YouTube channel of some very reputed university, American university. She was saying that she has come out as Dalit, and based on the reports that she reads of atrocities against Dalits in India. So I guess she came out as Dalit, this person also, because of the things she saw in her family in India. What's she talking about exactly?
I don't know. See, if you try to read into the thing, then let it be. My point is that if we look at what they are trying to say, okay, formal reporting of caste discrimination बंद है, देखा. So it's a, ये जो स्टिग्मा बोल रहे हैं, this is to kind of make a kind of, ये जो फियर का, डर का माहौल है, डर का माहौल, हाँ, ये दिखाना चाहते हैं. हाँ, so that is the main thing, that why is it that there is a डर का माहौल regarding caste? Because there actually isn't anything, but तुमको तो बोलना पड़ेगा कि कैसे, मतलब ये this is going, they call Republicans and right wing people and जो भी हो, they call them WhatsApp university and क्या बोलते हैं, क्या theorist, conspiracy theorist बोलते हैं, but themselves they are relying on basically anecdotal evidence and nothing of the sort. I think there is even something interesting I noted, that do Control F and find identifying or identity, because I think they are even seeing this as an identifying thing where you can identify as Dalit. Okay. Identification, something like that, like identity. Just keep doing, like, do the next one. Includes ancestry, color, caste, ethnic group identification. हाँ, so देखो, ये आइडेंटिफिकेशन का बात क्या है, ये भी एक अजीब चीज है. Like anyone can, like suppose, let's say we were talking about Anil Biswas's caste, right? So Anil Biswas can also identify as Dalit. What proof is there that he is a Brahmin, or what caste is he? That's the other thing. The identifying जो aspect है. How is this even there? Like how do you know who's actually backward and what is even there? Or backward होने से भी तुम you are enjoying a life in the US. How can you say that you have the same kind of disadvantages that somebody else has, right? Like ये तो पूरा एकदम,
they may have some disadvantages based on the family upbringing and focus on education and stuff compared to the upper castes in USA, but nowhere remotely close to the lower castes of India.
Precisely.
Because they are identifying with the lower caste of India.
Now, my point is that if you are indeed identifying as the lower caste of India, and in India itself you have kind of mechanisms to be to have those addressed through job reservation in this thing, educational institutes and all that stuff, then how would you even say that India में अगर वो है, India में अगर problem हो रहा है, so how can you like extrapolate that into the American scenario? India जहाँ पे problem है, there you have mechanisms to take care, SCST law, this, that. So how can you say that is even unaddressed? And if you did come to the US, how can you like make this thing up without any kind of proper case material? Abhi cases ban sakte hain. Now that is the other thing. That is the main thing I am fearing here. Okay. Acha, go to page number 22. Go to page number 22 of this document. हाँ, नीचे जाओ, देखो पेज नंबर कितना है. Go to page number 22. हाँ, ये देखो लास्ट लाइन एकदम. Undergraduates, so I was free here, no more discrimination, every Punjabi, either I say I don't know, just try to hide it. Really, I've never heard every single Indian going abroad and saying that somebody just asked them what your caste is. कौन जात हो, ये तो ज़्यादा रविश कुमार पूछता है. I've never heard of Indians asking for caste when you go abroad, right? So, जो भी हो, it's not just people, older people, but people of my age are also the same. So ये कहाँ से, मतलब what kind of ident like, अभी देखो जो part I wanted to show you, undergraduate student at Rutgers who identifies as Chamar, a Dalit caste in 2020.
तो ये एक्चुअल में चमार डिसेंट का है भी नहीं, who knows.
Let's say he is. Now,
Right.
in the 20th century, Chamars actually claimed to be Kshatriyas. And they were a dominant landowning caste in North India.
Yeah.
So how can this same category be seen as backwards in a different part of this? Yeah.
And in a first world country, the richest, most prosperous country in the history of mankind.
And I have never heard, like, I know a bunch of NRIs, I've never heard anyone say that people are asking for caste. And these are not even just all Brahmins. There are many people of different castes, right? Like different surnames. I know a bunch of people who live abroad in the US and different other countries. How come I never heard that they're asking people what their caste is? This is the one instance that I'm seeing.
Yeah, wait, I guess they found a different bunch of NRIs. Let me just check now what are their arguments in the executive summary. Okay, the 4 points.
Yeah.
So what are their claims?
देखो तो
Caste-based
definition
discrimination.
क्या है? हाँ.
Yeah, caste-based discrimination is a problem at Rutgers that limits the potential and opportunities of some in our university community. This situation is inconsistent with Rutgers community to equity and inclusion. Equity, if you bring in the question of equity, then तो everything can be described as a problem, because equality of outcome तो नहीं होगा unless everyone has the upbringing of Vivek Ramaswamy. तो yeah, तो तब ठीक है, Tamil Brahmins are the most privileged in the history of mankind. तब तो हो गया, excuse. The University Task Force on Caste Discrimination found that existing policies are insufficient to address caste on campus. Accordingly, we make our 4 key recommendations in this report. So remember Ninar's point though, which I also agree with, which we found somewhere in the beginning only, that caste is a system that exists everywhere. वो एक मजेदार चीज है. Okay, so the summary is Rutgers should add caste as a protected category to its non-discrimination policy. Rutgers should advertise its current policy and future changes to all university community members. Wide-ranging educational opportunities are needed to create awareness and change regarding caste. Rutgers should collect further data on caste-based discrimination on campus. This is a small section, so let's just read this a little more. What are the definitions? Report demonstrates the need for proposed, ye to ho gaya, outlines key impacts. The committee's full name is, okay, anyway. Define caste as an inherited and immutable social hierarchy that exists in many communities worldwide. As noted in section 1, most Americans are either unfamiliar with the category of caste entirely or only aware of the specific caste system into which they were born. In contrast, we present caste as a global phenomenon with many discrete incarnations, especially emphasizing its presence in American social life. We also underscore the importance of naming caste, thereby breaking the taboo surrounding this pernicious social hierarchy and associated discrimination. So, nice. So it's kind of a consensus now that caste is a universal phenomenon, I guess.
Yes, having said that, why are all the examples Indian? That is my other question.
That is the problem here.
Number one. Number two, can they call hillbillies as a caste? Like caste?
Yeah, because if they are saying it's a global phenomenon, then why are the examples only
like,
Indian? Then of course talk about.
So JD Vance is better suited for American president than Tim Walz. If a caste system does exist in India, in America, then poor white people deserve to have some kind of also, like, not just poor blacks, poor white people, hillbillies, they deserve to get opportunities in Stanford and Yale and Harvard and all.
Yeah. So Abhay is asking
my other question.
Abhay is asking an interesting question here, that if one is already in Rutgers through merit, then how is there any discrimination within the campus? So my answer is that, of course, they probably mean that the absence of positive discrimination in favor of so-called lower castes is proof that there is discrimination. Professor Lies-a-Lot, you put yourself in the shoes of a commie academic and you give the answer to this. Why is there discrimination? What would be their argument exactly?
Because they will say two things. remember the feminist argument that they have to work twice as hard as any Brahmin or other
Right.
upper caste to get where
Right.
they are. And
Huh.
second है कि मिला भी तो there are hidden instances of microaggressions and stuff that are happening.
From
कि
whom? White
they
people
will
who
not,
don't
I'm
know the
sure they have
castes.
identified the Brahmins on campus. So if the Brahmin
Oh.
guy and they have a small fight, then they
Yeah.
will say, this is an example of microaggression because of our my surname, and that's why the Brahmin professor is discriminating against me. So Brahmin professor agar you know, if Brahmin professor gives you low marks, then you
Yeah.
will
Yeah.
say, oh,
Done.
because he's a Brahmin and I am a
Yeah.
Dalit, he does
Yeah.
this.
Hmm. So, what Cheap Thrills is pointing out here, also you recommend that book to Cheap Thrills as well. Uh, what was that? Hillbillies and
Hey,
no.
white trash. White trash. Why is that? That's the book. That's the name of the book.
What
White
was the
trash.
other book by that author, where he discusses jocks?
Oh, no. You're confusing the two. White trash
Okay.
is by that professor who
Okay.
spoke on the JD Vance issue. And the other book
Oh.
I am talking about is
Yeah.
Cool Kids, Freaks, Geeks, and Cool Kids by
Yeah. Yeah.
Murray
That's
Miller
one
Jr.
phenomenon. Yeah.
That there he compares कि Indian caste system में जैसे status hierarchies है. In
Hmm.
America, you have the status hierarchies in high school where the jocks and the cool kids are there.
Hmm.
They are forming the elite upper higher status groups of the
Hmm.
the high schools and colleges and all.
Hmm.
So that's why they are very they are kind of able to what can I say? They are able to dominate the scene of this high school and academic circles and all that. They were.
Yeah.
Abhi kya ho raha hai? Because of the more leftist kind of academics working in different parts of the that country,
Hmm.
what's happening is you can say that this thing. Now the cool kids are different people. The cool kids
Right.
are no
Of
longer
course.
the jocks who play football.
Exactly.
The cool kids are the ones who use the the pronouns and all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So these are the people who are now the cool kids. So
Yeah.
you see the power hierarchies when they change, the nature of status changes. So जैसे एक टाइम पे शायद Brahmanical text, Brahmanical hierarchy sanction worked because Brahmins were powerful or
Hmm.
Kshatriyas were powerful.
Yeah.
Therefore, when you see a changed system where communism takes over, modernity takes over, then you
Yeah.
see what Dayabati Roy is saying, right? That
Yeah.
the system changes and therefore the nature of status hierarchies change, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
So that's where we can see that that's how Murray Milner talks about it. But these
Yeah.
people talk about purity, pollution, and that kind of thing. They talk
Yeah.
about a system. That is where I think even Murray Milner is differing from their thing. Okay.
I see.
ये
Okay.
ये देखना पड़ेगा.
Huh. So, uh, what is his argument that why is this happening? And what has he called it? Has it called it caste or status groups or what?
He has spoken about status. His main book is Status and Sacredness. So he says
Oh.
status is a kind of power.
Hmm.
Okay, that's where you see status and sacredness. If you Google this book is where it's an Oxford University publication, I think.
Okay.
So what happens is by this thing, not this one. Oh yeah, this one. Yes. So
Okay.
a
So he has
general,
talked about India as well.
yeah. He has written that
Hmm.
whole book on India. So he, as an American, he analyzed Indian society and said, "Ki dekho, Brahmins were able to dominate because they had status power." So it's the same logic, right? And the main problem here is that what he tries to do is he tries to undo Dumo's thing. Dumo is saying power is superseded by status. The king has power, Brahmin has religious purity, so Brahmin supersedes the king. Brahmin is more powerful than the king. So when we bring it back to reality, when we bring Dumo back to reality, using Quigley, Hokart, Dirks, other kinds of people, Raheja and all these people, so then we see that Murray Milner and others make sense that status is based on power. स्टेटस इज अ काइंड ऑफ पावर. ये पावर
Yeah.
छोड़ के स्टेटस नहीं होता है. सो हिंदुइज्म नहीं, वो अलग, जो भी जहां पे भी जो पावरफुल है, they become endogamous, they become a kind of close status group, and that's how it operates. And Brahmins and Kshatriyas in India were no different. When they become powerful, they closed their status group and wanted endogamy. ये कोई अलग नहीं है. ये this happened in European nobilities, this happened in American high schools everywhere, right?
And if we let's say extrapolate the entire jati or varna system in today's context, in today's India as well, we'll see the same things, that academics have power in a very specific
Exactly.
way, and politicians
Exactly.
also have power in a very specific way. But aren't how many academics really marry someone other than an academic, or someone in a similar academic sort of a position where insanely great high school and university credentials are involved? Okay, so you may not be an academic if you're a husband or wife of an academic, but you will probably be a lawyer or a doctor or a judge and stuff. But you will probably be in that close circle only, so it's not
Exactly.
never going away. And my
And
question is, what do you think of this book that Cheapsvills is talking about, Burtonstein's work on caste? What says
Burtonstein
it?
has done good work. Burtonstein has analyzed South India, and
Hmm.
he's like the little kingdom thing. So these
Hmm.
people, they you see, the more historical studies of caste, they
Hmm.
completely destroy the this thing,
I
the
see.
Dumontian argument of caste.
Right.
Okay. And we need to do that. We need to read more historical studies like Hitesh Ranjan Sanyal, Burtonstein,
Hmm.
Kulke, Herman Kulke,
Okay.
Sahu, BP Sahu, these kind of people. Okay.
Hmm.
So these people have done good work on the history.
Yeah.
Even Romila Thapar has done decent work, believe it or not.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
So Irfan Habib. Okay.
What
But
are
the
their views
moment,
again? Just to reiterate for the people who might be joining or seeing our channel for the first time.
so in many more ways than one, these all these people I have named,
Hmm.
they have associated caste
Hmm.
with state. Okay, कि
Hmm.
state power जैसे जैसे बढ़ता है, जिसका जिसका बढ़ता है state में power,
Hmm.
they become a dominant caste, they become a
Hmm.
powerful caste. Okay,
Hmm.
so when this is like typical, like, because you can't make sense of uh, how Dumo thought of caste, using, when you go back to historical data, when you see how state formation actually worked, how tribal rulers, they
Hmm.
came to power, and Brahmins kind of facilitated that power structure,
Exactly.
where
Yeah.
they wrote genealogies for them and did all that.
Yeah.
And yes,
Yeah.
structure has been, perpetuating over the like generations, okay, over
Hmm.
centuries. So
Hmm.
when you talk about all this, then you understand that these people don't have much to do with actual reality, especially sociologists. I have to tell you this, that historians to fir bhi they cannot deny a lot of things. Jaise this one, Irfan Habib wrote that you can't blame casteism entirely on Brahmins, because even Buddhists who preceded them in the Mauryan state, they also had instances of caste discrimination. Okay,
Hmm.
that's why you can't compare the two, and therefore
I see.
these kind of people, when they go into history, they use actual historical data that
Hmm.
completely undoes this totally totally problematic assumption of caste. Okay, I'm sorry for that comment, that stray comment. Anyway, uh, not all sociology, I guess, not
Hashtag
all.
not all sociologists. Yeah.
Hashtag not all sociologists. But yes, there is a tendency. So, no, then you have great anthropological work as well, right? Like
Hmm.
Srinivas, Dumo, Quigley and all, Raheja.
Hmm. Yeah.
Put those aside, my point is that what they did analyze was existing power structures, and that does not at all favor whatever these guys are saying. Because if you go to a place in Punjab, if you go where Chamars are a dominant landowning caste, they will all
Hmm.
claim Kshatriya status. Now, suddenly, when they go abroad, it seems that they are being asked about their caste and being oppressed. So, how does
Yeah.
this work? That is my question.
Yeah.
Caste, वैसे भी the bigger issue with caste is it is highly localized as a phenomenon, right?
Exactly.
So a Bengali Brahmin will be respected perhaps in your this thing will be respected in Bengal, in Calcutta, But when that same person goes to Mumbai or Delhi, they may
Yeah.
not be respected as a Brahmin, because their Brahmins will say, "Ah, you eat meat, so you are not a
Yeah.
real Brahmin." Right?
Exactly.
So even the
It has
status
happened.
of Brahmins is highly variable within this land.
Yeah.
How can a
Exactly.
Brahmin, let's say a Bengali Brahmin, yeah, a South Indian Brahmin goes to Uttar Pradesh, and they
Yeah.
have a fight with a Yadav there? Who do you think will win the fight there?
Hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's about, it's very like varied, even regionally varied within India. So how can you extrapolate a system? That is the main thing that Dipankar Gupta
Yeah.
is saying, that there is no system. But these people look at
Right.
it, they now, if there is no unified system and it is highly
Exactly.
localized, then America may be, imagine a group of chamars who are very powerful in America, they can be seen as a dominant caste who are landowning, or who have, who are powerful there. So let's say a Brahmin from Calcutta, one or two Brahmins from Calcutta go and have a fight with 10 chamars there, and they have a fist fight and the chamars win or whatever. How do you think that will even work? Like how does the logic of caste, which is itself so varied in India, work in a completely different geographical location with a completely different population?
Now, wait, I have a point, but first, Professor Salvatore Babones, again, thank you for joining our live stream. In the comment section, at least, it's a huge honor that you are here. And what I'm saying is, the localization point is extremely important, because if you are an NRI, Dalit, or Brahmin, or whatever caste, it depends again what your honor is, how actually high or low you are in the so-called status hierarchy, based on where your family used to be in India. So
Yes,
even there is no actual uniformity,
yes,
because
precisely.
like there are families who I know in Kolkata, uh, absolutely liberal families, but who have searched for people to get their children married with specifically Borendra Brahmins or Radi Brahmins or some place in Bangladesh. वहाँ का ही Brahmin चाहिए, Brahmin descendant चाहिए. So if it's so localized, how is the discrimination going to be uniform in a different country altogether after 2 generations? What weird stuff is this?
Exactly. And like I said, if you say that there is a, like, how do you extrapolate a caste system of Japan? Let's say Burakumin, who are discriminated in Japan, go to US. Okay, so how will an American person know, even an American Japanese person? Because wahan pe to you can't even tell by the surname of a Japanese person, right? Even in India, many surnames you get among Brahmins and lower castes and many other castes, right? So
Yeah,
how can, unless that is a person is self-identifying? So ye problem hai
yeah,
ki, see, they are talking, they are very clever, they use that term, that to break the kya bolte hain, the stigma on discussing caste. Okay,
right, right,
now all that means is, now I will self-identify as a caste,
right.
and because I self-identify as a caste, or which is oppressed, you by default have to do something. So let's say you, with your present skin color, you go to the US and self-identify as a Latino or even a half
Hmm.
black person, then
Hmm.
they, without knowing what reality is, you can tell a white person that he can just whatever buzz off, right?
Hmm.
That because your skin has more melanin than his or her,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? So
Yeah.
you can self identify as anything. So यही वो उसके तरफ जा रहा है, that anyone can self identify as anything,
Right, right.
because in India you have official documentation. वो भी, there are a lot of doubts on that, but whatever. Even if I take it that Indian government did a great stellar job of identifying all the backward and lower castes and all, and they did an excellent job of addressing all these issues.
Hmm.
uh, Even if I understand that,
Hmm.
the moment you go abroad, that thing does not have a legal basis in the US, right?
Exactly.
So
So
then, if you
yeah,
self
go on.
identify as a lower caste there,
Right.
perhaps anyone and everyone will have to take you seriously on the basis of your claim
Hmm.
to this thing,
Hmm.
that you are a lower caste or
Right.
whatever you are. Okay. So my point here is that, simply put, there is a reason why they want to do away with the taboo of discussing caste, because that ultimately translates to self-identify your caste at all times.
Exactly.
But if you self-identify as a Brahmin, then you're well, whatever.
Yeah. Now, okay, so Professor Babones is saying it's simply a pleasure to have the opportunity to learn. Okay, the most humble humanities professor in the world, I guess. And now my question to Professor Lizelot is that, so this kind of supralegal claim to discrimination, where
Yeah.
they are not even saying that yes, there is in fact legal discrimination. So I guess data is not even the goal. Is data even possible if there is such uh, uh, I mean, let's say ignoring of legalities at completely. We're not even bothered about the legal discrimination part. So then, what do we do about it?
That's the problem, that can you, like, in a country where you can self-identify as anything, can you really, like, if that is the norm now, can
Hmm.
you fight against that? Like, how can you, like, who will take out the genealogy and say, oh, this caste is actually a dominant caste in North India? How will you take those things out? How will you prove that? And by the time you prove that, you are already accused of caste discrimination, right?
No, but even I mean, self-identification is specifically also not the problem here, because whatever you identify, that's another thing. But after identifying, if you say you were discriminated, but there is no proof of it legally, then what to do about this? Then what is even the solution? Just consider that everyone is by default discriminated, and give everyone reservations in USA.
Everyone to nahi ho raha hai na.
Hmm.
There are some visibly like Brahmin or Rajput or dominant caste surnames. There are
Hmm. Hmm.
specifically Brahmins. I think this is going to be used on Brahmins more. So
Of course.
if that is the case,
Hmm.
then you can understand how this is going to play out, right? Like, a scenario regarding this is going to play out. Somebody is
Yes.
going to say that that guy whose name is Banerjee, Chatterjee, something, Divedi, Chaturvedi, something like that,
Ramaswamy. Yes.
Ramaswamy, has discriminated.
Hmm.
And ye aa raha hai because I think somebody like Ramaswamy is a threat, right?
Hmm.
So what happens is somebody will suddenly claim that this guy has done something against me.
Yeah.
Now, by the time you can disprove or prove anything, you're
Hmm.
already being tagged as a casteist.
Hmm.
Okay.
And Ramaswamy married a Brahmin, so he's already
Khatam,
screwed.
gaya, finish. To quote Pappu, khatam,
Yeah.
finish, gaya, over. Pura.
Hmm.
By the way, I think, not by the way, the guy who's trolling in the comment section, not that guy. I
Hmm.
think I think Dr. Professor Babones has a paper on this caste thing in California,
Yeah, we discussed
which
it in a live
was,
stream as well.
yeah, which was based on how this, it is also a, weird thing that came out of nowhere. So
Yeah.
that's my other thing, that if you are so bothered with caste right now,
Hmm.
where was all this bother when NRIs were working in Silicon Valley for the last, I don't know, 40 years or 50 years?
Hmm. Hmm.
When Narayan Murthy and
Yeah.
all, how is this suddenly an issue? Why is this suddenly an issue?
Hmm.
That is the main other thing. How
Well,
come we never heard of this 30 years ago?
here they would say that everything takes time. Some ideas come later. Everything has a, I guess, a birth time. Everything can't be born at once. So now we have realized that yes, we need to address this as well.
No, I think that because there is a vote shift against, there's a vote shift away from the
What do you think is
Democrats.
the long-term play for these conversations? That was my question. That was going to be my question
The
exactly.
long term play is that some people will be accused of casteism in America, which is, already a bit weird, and
Hmm.
they are going to target powerful people using sudden outbursts. That's all that's going to happen,
Hmm.
and there will be no recorded instance of them. So the biggest thing is the SC, Supreme Court, a few days ago said that any abuse by a, let's say, upper caste against SCST cannot be seen as a SCST Act wala thing. Like,
Oh, did they?
yes, they said that it has to be specific to your caste. So let's say an upper caste calls a Dalit some word, okay, any bad
Hmm.
word, okay,
Hmm.
just like that, then that's
Yeah.
not itself like a caste discrimination thing.
Hmm.
Only if, the Supreme Court says, only if your caste is involved in that gali or that
Hmm.
abuse, then
Hmm.
it will count as a violation of the SCST Act.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So imagine And I would like to imagine that in the US, the Indians, especially second generation, third generation Indians, they will not even know a lot of casteist galis, okay, to say what they want to say. Now, how now if they do have a fight or a problem with somebody of a lower caste, identifying as a lower caste, right? Who might be a dominant caste in India also. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So yeah, these people will take the ritual, pollution, purity aspect of Dumo and use this. Okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what they will do is they will then say that because I'm lower caste, that guy failed me in my exam. That guy
Exactly.
disputed against me. Okay.
Yeah.
This
It's
is
not
what
going
will
to be a verbal battle that they're going to be talking about. They're going to be talking about hiring practices and marks giving and stuff.
huh,
Paper correction.
or this the next step is that because a overwhelming number of Savarnas are teaching in American university, the
Right.
Indians who go there, Ajanta Subramaniam, a lot of others,
Every
many of
Bengali. Every
many
Bengali
towns,
commie.
yeah, Guha, Chatterjee, Banerjee, lots. You
Of
can
course.
just do control F on any faculty list of any Ivy League. You'll find at
Yeah.
least 100 Brahmins. Okay,
Yeah.
so if that is the case, then now you will see that these people are not being given. So ye kya ho raha hai? DEI Pro Max. Okay, so that's what's going to happen. But I can assure you that they will then not say that caste is a global category. They are saying it that to kind of extrapolate that into America. Because if they say caste is an Indian category, then India mein to India ka system hai. India has its own system of addressing these things, right? It has laws, it has reservation and all that, which are again localized, whatever formulas. Once you extrapolate it as a global category, you can use the same logic to actually screw over other people in the US. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. That's what's going to happen. This is the future that we're telling you here.
Yeah. And it's probably hilarious that commie Bengali Brahmins are going to face a lot of the brunt of these things if actually
I doubt
Hindutvadis
it.
don't
I doubt
kill
it.
these
They
things.
will. What a lot of commie upper caste do is they often side with these people to screw over somebody they doubt.
How will they side with these things when their kids are prevented from becoming CEOs and have to give 100 on 100 to every self-identifying Dalit NRI?
I don't think that will happen. You see, this is just to keep certain people in check. And remember, when we discuss
Hello? Hello? His, I guess, internet is gone. Just go out of the stream and rejoin. But until his internet is fixed, I'll just answer Abhay's question here. So Abhay was asking, being an academic, like I was comparing, that being an academic today is equal to being a Brahmin hundreds of years back. But he's pointing out that being academic is not really linked to your birth. Maybe not in a codified way, maybe not in any book, but it operates in the same way, which is my only complaint with texts which have recommended birth-based stuff in India is that, yes, these things happen organically. You people codified it and said that, yes, do make sure to do these things. That is a big problem. So what's my proof of saying that it's organic and happens anyway? Even the birth-based thing, that you see most academics are either children or grandchildren of other academics, at least the best ones, or their children are also going to become great academics, if not the professions which are academia adjacent, lawyers and stuff. Okay, like Abhijit Banerjee, Nobel laureate. His mom is a Marathi academic who is fluent in Bengali, by the way. So officially, Abhijit Banerjee's mother tongue is Marathi, but everyone considers him Bengali in Kolkata. So that's going to happen anyway. These are inevitable. Professor Lizelot, would you like to take this question of Abhay? That is academia and being an academic linked to birth in some ways in today's context as well?
I guess we've been discussing this for a while now, but I'll reiterate the problem.
Yeah, and we have to reiterate everything we have been saying for the last 6 months because a lot of people are joining our channel these days.
Yeah. No. This is a good question. I
And a
think it's
lot
very
of
good.
people are unsubscribing as well, because every day someone or the other is getting butthurt. So it's all for the good.
No, so let's get back to this.
Hmm.
If you see the number of people who are actually going abroad, so देखो India में, like I said, the reservation policies have allowed a lot of people, reservation policies which are supported by a lot of upper caste themselves, uh, have allowed a lot of people from backward and SCST communities to come up and become professors and teachers and all that. But although this will be denied by a lot of people on the left, uh, my point here is that
Hmm.
if we take a look at the people who go abroad where there is no reservation, right?
Hmm.
There is
Yeah.
no basis of there is no advantage of being from a certain caste. Then you will
Yeah.
see that typically most people who go abroad as professors and teachers, they end up being from some dominant caste or the other, or some
Yeah.
landowning caste, or Brahmin, these kind of castes, the privileged
Hmm.
castes. Okay,
Hmm.
so I personally think that this is the part where, oh, Professor Babonis has,
This will be
let's
fun.
this is like one of those, those paintings, those Renaissance paintings where a guy was drawing himself, drawing the picture. So
Audrey Trushky is so funny.
Yeah. Finish your point, then we'll check this out as well. This is a
no,
short
so
video.
primarily that's what I wanted to say. Like, if you look at it, yes, Brahmins and certain dominant castes do have certain, like Tambrams, right? Like they do have a culture of studying and going abroad and being professors and teachers. There is no mistake, but think about it. This happens in other societies as well. People who are teachers and professors in Europe, right? They typically come from a slightly more privileged background. You will not see a
Hmm.
very poor, impoverished person going into academia in any part of this world. You think the
Yes.
professors and teachers of in the American universities who teach now are all first generation learners? Like they're learning ABCD for the first, they're the first generation to learn ABCD and then learn English and then go to get a PhD or a master's degree and all that. It's
Hmm.
quite impossible. So the people themselves, like the people who perhaps were involved in the filing of this report, were
Hmm.
possibly second or third generation academics. So we must also turn the lens. If they are saying caste is a global thing, then perhaps we can turn the lens on them and say that, okay, but how many of the professors and teachers and students of who are white or other, other people in America,
Hmm.
uh, how many of them come from absolutely underprivileged, discriminated backgrounds? How many
Right.
JD
Right.
Vances are there in Yale and Harvard and Rutgers and other kind of universities? So we must, if you must look at caste, then I think we should look at caste, right?
Yeah.
Because they're gonna
And
look at Brahmins next, but
and
so
and
we
why
have to
is
look at their
there
Brahmins, I guess.
and why is there an overwhelming majority of women in social sciences? How about we equalize that with some men's reservations in social sciences?
These are not this. What's a woman?
Yeah, of course. So now my question is, Nina has a has an interesting point here, but uh, the NRIs who are probably involved in these things, will they, what will their reaction be if we do someday, if this government starts funding academics, and we point out the privilege of upper caste, mainly commies, in Indian academia and even Western academia. So what's going to be a solution recommended by them when we also point these things out? Are they going to ask for reservations of highly educated Dalits, and are they going to be the cream of the crop, second generation, third generation, rich and highly educated Dalit families, or are they going to be an actual Dalit oppressed in the villages of Uttar Pradesh?
I highly doubt uh, we will have the ability to do that, because see, the biggest problem that faces any movement that is nationalist, in, and by nationalist I mean not like not the extreme nationalists that the left keeps talking about, which does not exist much. I'm talking about normal, like pro-India, pro-America, pro-European movements or whatever, these kind of things, right? So these movements, the people leading them, I think somewhere they lack the tenacity and the logic to kind of pursue this kind of a thing that the left does. The left is a war machine. Okay. The left literally does witch hunts, which is why you see we were talking about Zionism being a social justice movement, right? You have said that on Rebecca's podcast. So I mean, the people who are Jewish in America, they often do that. Like if somebody insults them, they try and go after that person.
Yeah,
and that's
ADL.
the whole thing.
Yeah.
But I doubt Indians can do that. There were two whole bloody partitions in this country. Which Indian tried to get back at anyone who discriminated against them? Nobody did.
Yeah.
So that's where I think that we are failing. This
Now, we will just check out Professor Babunas' video here, and after that, we will. I have two other questions for you. Okay, I'm going to getting into this one first because maybe he has also some interesting points on this, and maybe he'll go to sleep right now. So let's just check out his points.
This is the MCU. This is
crossover of non-commie academics.
I mean, I just couldn't resist. She has a new report for Rutgers University on Audrey Truschke is so funny. I just couldn't resist. She has a new report for Rutgers University on caste-based discrimination in U.S. higher education and at Rutgers. I first heard about Audrey Truschke, I can't even say the name without laughing, 2 years ago when somebody told me that she had blocked me on Twitter. And they said, Audrey Truschke's blocked you on Twitter. I said, who's Audrey Truschke? and so I found out, and it was just hilarious that not only she blocked me on Twitter preventatively, but I had no idea who she was, so that she could then malign
preventatively.
Me. But then she and her friends put me up on Hindu truck profiles. Salvatore Babonas. This is a great photo. I did this for a video interview. I was playing around and put on my India scarf, and and
they want to
somehow
the volume
for someone to say,
"Oh, volume full hai, Ninar."
I'm a scholar. Is that evil in some way? I guess I'm evil. So this report is really hilarious. Now, I've been working on this issue of the anti-Hindu movement in the United States, and I actually wrote a paper about it, the weaponization of caste in America.
Yeah.
You can read the report online or download it.
So it's also pretty significant that a legit significant professor like Professor Salvatore Babonas has already declared this officially an anti-Hindu movement. This is already some progress, I think.
It's on the Indian Century Roundtable website, and there you go. It's all about this, fake creation of caste discrimination in order to stigmatize Hindus. And there are all these quotes in here about the task force says this, we're worried about that, and fair enough, they're worried about it. They think that caste should be protected because poor Hindus are being maligned, and you think Audrey Truschke's worried about the poor Hindus being maligned at Rutgers. And so it says, look, why do we need this? Because there are issues of caste-based discrimination. Here is our open letter, whereas other universities have done it, whereas the student union believes that caste should be added, therefore there should be a task force, all this legalese, there'll be a report, et cetera, et cetera. Rutgers should add caste as a protected category to its non-discrimination policy. All right, no one should discriminate on the basis of caste. That sounds fine. It should advertise its policy to all university community members. Make a big deal. Rutgers is a place where caste doesn't exist. And then we need to create opportunities regarding caste.
So they want Rutgers to virtue signal to everyone else to further do anti-Hindu things.
And collect data on caste-based discrimination is try to prove it exists. And why? Well, it's hard to define caste. Many systems have caste societies, and all this is standard text. The emphasis is always on Dalits. Now, Dalits, whether it means oppressed or not, I'll let you be the judge. I'm not a Sanskrit scholar, but whether or not Dalits are oppressed in India, there's no evidence of Dalit oppression in the United States. In fact, the group who have been complaining about Dalit oppression in the United States are a group of Google engineers, a bunch of multi-millionaire engineers at Google complaining about caste-based discrimination. And they talk about all these problems of, there's...
Wait, I have something to ask you, Professor Lizelot. Because this is kind of on the point of that we actually already discussed that whether we are talking about actually legal discrimination or implicit bias and stuff. Because Professor also just mentioned that there is no discrimination. But what if they are talking about not considering you qualified enough based on what your consumption patterns and stuff are, what your music taste and stuff is there discrimination based on those things, and can we ever really find out? And if we can ever really find out, how do we even stop those things?
So I think where the bigger issue is that if there are consumption patterns differences and changes in all kinds of all kinds of belief systems as you go up and down the ladder, if there exists a ladder in terms of status, a unified ladder, that is, then the bigger issue is that how do we put our finger on what is superior and what is inferior?
I see. Yes.
So let's say for a Bengali Brahmin upper caste living in Calcutta, Western classical music is superior, but if they judge somebody for not listening to Western classical music, how do we objectively show that that is discriminatory in any way?
Based on the person liking or claiming Western classical to be superior having a bigger paycheck, of course.
But again, then this does not fall into the typical caste discrimination model that these people are talking about, right? Like, imagine if somebody likes beef and he or she is ostracized by upper caste or whatever, anyone, right? How will that person actually go about proving that this is a discriminatory act that has caused him or her some kind of problems? That is, by that logic, vegans should also be seen as castists. Vegans, all kinds of animal rights activists, PETA, everyone's a casteist by that logic, right?
Because it's absolutely based on consumption, pollution, and purity.
Yeah. So who is then responsible? So if a PETA activist in the US says that you shouldn't have beef to a Dalit person or a Muslim who eats beef in the US because of environmental concerns, then is that person practicing caste discrimination? What logic determines where, like, and let's say here, incidentally, an upper caste person who is an environmentalist says that eating beef is a bad idea because it's bad for the environment, right? Because as we know that it does cause higher global warming. Animal meat consumption does cause more global warming. In that case, should we kind of say that this is a caste discrimination, or this is discrimination based on this is discrimination at all because we're talking about global warming, which the left wants people to become vegetarians, right? As far as I checked last, or eat insects to survive instead of actual meat. So how do we know which discrimination was based on consumption? It's very difficult to understand that.
So we are absolutely on the same page
as the Supreme Court of India, who is I'm sure at least more educated than some of the people talking about caste in the US, I'm guessing, did say that unless there is an explicit gali based on caste, based on your caste, you cannot say that it is a caste based gali. You cannot say it is a caste based abuse. And
how is that even going to be quantifiable? Because I mean, is Supreme Court going to have a repository and categorization of caste based galis then? That okay, ye tick mark ho gaya, so now this qualifies as a caste based gali?
No, I guess I won't go into that, because if you go into details, you have to give examples. I don't want to give examples. Now, my point is, even if that is the case, even if there is, you understand, right? Some galis are caste based. You understand that, right?
Yeah.
But that means we accept those instances of caste based galis. If you generally abuse a person for eating beef because of your belief in global warming being caused by beef, then how can you call that caste based discrimination? There is no logic, there is no quantifiable logic to this kind of thing.
So we are on the same page as Professor Bhavan is here.
Of course. And look at this part where you paused incidentally. The Yashika Dutt has written about attempting to pass as an upper caste in her memoir coming out as Dalit. Okay, Siddhant hides his caste out of fear and shame of facing negative consequences at work, right? So if they did try to pass themselves off as like, what they thinking that today I will be a Brahmin, tomorrow I will be a Rajput, like what were they thinking, like
What were
what is
their
upper
markers to first
So
identify
are
as
you
Dalit
telling
and
me
then
that
not?
exactly? Are you telling me that and again, I know a bunch of Brahmins who eat beef, so it's not even eating beef or
Yeah,
something like that. So
exactly.
if are you telling me that a Dalit person cannot enjoy Beethoven's Sixth Symphony? Are you telling me that?
How did he manage this? Let's just assume
So
Siddhant is
imagine
actually
so,
saying
so
the truth.
let's go to Yashika Dutt's claim that she wanted
Yeah,
to act upper caste. What is
right.
upper caste, right?
How?
Like so let's say, like I said, first, does she think today I want to be Rajput, tomorrow I want to be Brahmin? It's like, is it like that? Because in Western India, Rajput is higher than Brahmin, and in perhaps in Eastern India, Brahmin is higher than Rajput, or perhaps in Karnataka, Lingayat is higher than Brahmin. So does she think, today I have Kannadiga
Right,
friends, I'm
right,
hanging out with them, so I am a Lingayat today. So tomorrow I
right.
have Rajput friends that I'm meeting for lunch, so I'll be a Rajput tomorrow. Day after tomorrow I'm meeting Bengali Brahmins who eat beef incidentally, so I'll eat beef. So
Hmm.
how does this fluid how does this kind of identifying as upper caste or behaving like an upper caste work? Number one, which
Yeah.
upper caste? Number one.
Hmm.
Number two, okay, upper castes have quote unquote superior consumption patterns. If an upper caste person listens to Beethoven, then are you telling me that the millions of lower castes in India, none of them listen to any superior Beethoven or any kind of classical music or these kind of things? They don't watch Christopher Nolan. Dalits don't watch Christopher Nolan movies. What behavior patterns are we talking
What
about?
behavior pattern?
Precisely.
This is an insane sentence.
Yeah. So
Now, my question is that okay? I mean, we have some freedom as YouTubers, and you don't have some freedoms as an academic. And I'm going back to academia, so I guess is it true that we will basically have to take Siddhant's words as at face value and have to basically concede that yes, he is a pretty sad and discriminated person, but then taking into account that yes, he has faced discrimination, after that we are going to analyze. That's the route we are going to take, right?
I don't know. My bigger issue is that what is the marker of an upper caste? What do you define as an upper caste? How do you define discrimination? What kinds of discrimination are we talking about? Is it untouchability? How do you know it's not just COVID? Okay,
Hmm.
what is happening? Like, so during COVID you were supposed to maintain like I don't know, 6 feet distance or something like that, right? Like
Hmm.
to some 1 yard distance or something. So if you're
Hmm.
supposed to maintain a distance, and
Hmm.
you maintain a distance from a person due to social distancing that was
Hmm.
mandatory in certain states of America,
Hmm.
then does that, and that person happens to be from a Dalit caste, do you then put that under caste discrimination?
Quite possibly, but what other markers? How
We
did
can't,
someone?
unless there is outright like caste based galis. Okay,
Hmm.
unless there is outright some kind of discrimination based on one's uh, caste. Because if I went to say looks, but looks, I mean, there you are, you saying all Brahmins look beautiful and the
Yeah,
reverse is impossible?
right.
I guess, what how can you define these things? Like, there is no proper definition of what consists of as caste based discrimination, right? how
Yeah.
how does it work in the
So
US?
if you were an academic who was invited to a seminar to talk about this factor, so would you outright say just that Siddhant and Yashika are absolutely lying, or would you take their claim
you
into
think you
account?
think
And
I would be invited and then I would even talk about this issue? And
no, I'm
in
wondering
the,
what is the fairest possible academic counter to this?
there is no fairness in academia. If that is like, that's what I've been saying for you, you've also been saying for the last over a year, right? Like there is no actual logic or fairness. The best we can do is use uh play around the rules, right? Play to our, what can I say, play to our strengths, play around the rules.
And
That's what we can.
advantages, yeah.
Read more. That is the only thing we can do, I guess.
Yeah. So just take M Shastri's question on the screen. Okay. M Shastri is asking Rutgers. Yeah, read the full question because not everyone watches the video.
Okay, yeah. Rutgers anti-Hindu movement has very xenophobic tendencies. Their report is similar to newspaper xenophobic propaganda that you would see in American newspapers. Can we call the movement racist? I guess, because if they are targeting, see how clever they are. They are saying that caste is global, but in their so-called data, they are using mainly Indian examples, Hindu examples, not even Indian.
Right.
Matlab, they won't even show Pasmanda getting discriminated against.
Yeah.
They are showing primarily Hindu discrimination of caste. So, but they will say, when you say that this is like racist or whatever, they'll say, yeah, but Wilkerson wrote a book where she said, black people also face casteism.
Right.
Jews in Nazi Germany face casteism, right?
Right.
I guess if we meet a Holocaust survivor ever, then we can say, oh, it was casteism, right? According to Wilkerson's book.
Yeah. Yeah. So yes, so this is not even just xenophobic. This is not just racist. This is specifically targets one minority community in the country of USA.
I think that's the workaround. That's the loophole. What M. Shastri identified was that if they directly targeted Hindus, then what that could be seen as racist, right? And I think there are movements, there were lawsuits by Hindu organizations in the US saying that this is an anti-Hindu claim. So
even Salvatore Babones said that.
Exactly. Even Professor Babones has shown that. Now what they can say is that, see, actually, it's a global phenomenon, but we will discriminate against you specifically. So this was a workaround. This is right. So they are also playing 3D chess with us. Yeah. So that's how this is working.
Yeah. Okay. Then now let's go on with Professor Babones' analysis.
There's all these problems of caste-based discrimination, and I'm sure that such things exist. I have no doubt. And then they go on to caste systems, and they elevate the caste system. It's almost like they want to resurrect the caste system. I mean, can we imagine that in the United States of America there is enforced endogamy? I mean, try getting your Hindu kids to go to temple. Never mind marry who you want them to.
Professor lies a lot. Again, Professor Babones is talking from the perspective of just American laws. But what if it's parental pressure? Do we get to call that enforced, or do we again have to be on the same page as Professor Babones?
You would have to put all the characters in Jane Austen novels in jail. Okay. Like, you think Bill Gates' daughter can marry any random person? You think any elite community in any part of the world will just allow anyone to marry anyone? In Japan, the princess had to marry a commoner only after leaving her position as a princess, right? So this whole arranged marriage thing is pretty common even in England. There is a book by Schutter which talks about endogamy among British aristocrats and gentry. Lawrence Stone has spoken about it. So endogamy is a very common thing in all parts of the world, and pretty much enforced in the Boston Brahmins, who I keep talking about, like the WASP elites. They had pretty endogamous relationships. They barely married outside their caste.
Yeah, and this was kind of my planned reply to Abhay's question as well, that how many academics do you think have kids who are dropouts, or who marry dropouts, or people who just completed their graduation and did not do masters? How is that that probably is not enforced endogamy, but how do we know what conversation they had with their parents? How do we know Abhijit Banerjee's mom didn't force him to marry a French academic, and French are probably the Brahmins of the entire world in terms of academia? How do we know that? How do we know it's not enforced endogamy, bhai?
marry. It's almost inconceivable. Are American Hindus suffering from occupational rankings? Oh, you're a topper, you're going to be a lawyer, and no, you're a Modi, and you are going to press seeds. That's right, we're going to put you Modis to work pressing seeds in the New Jersey oil industry. I mean, it's just hilarious that these ideas that these allegations from 19th century India are being used to claim discrimination in the United States. And okay, there is potentially, people might fear having their caste outed. I don't want to make light of that. That is true. It could happen, but that's not really caste-based discrimination. Would peers ostracize you? That's possible, but you know what? 19-year-olds ostracize a lot of people for a lot of reasons, and if you're going to go listing them as forms of discrimination,
Right.
good luck. Lots of
This is such an important point, because 19-year-olds will have so many ostracization mechanisms. I mean, how am I supposed to be hanging out with
Eminem discriminated against in his rap group or whatever? Is that caste discrimination?
Yeah, that will get my channel demonetized. So
I don't know. Just asking a
Vivek was allegedly pushed down the stairs and had to go through hip surgery because of an attack from a specific racial group, and for Vivek being from a specific racial group as well, or a nationality. Priyanka Chopra talked about this when she had gone to USA to her earlier works.
The Indians you're talking about are all upper caste Brahmin, upper caste in India.
Yeah.
Right. So
I liked this point a lot, that how am I personally, me, College Street Kolkata, supposed to not ostracize someone and have someone as friend who probably hates metal, Western classical, hates discussing politics, hates discussing movies. What the fuck am I going to talk to him about? How is he going to be my friend? मैं ostracize करूं नहीं तो क्या करूं उसको? क्या बात करेंगे हम बैठ के?
We're going to have the anti-goth discrimination act. Or no, they're not called goths anymore. Now they're called, I forget. What about people who? What is it from Twilight? Team. I forget them.
He brought up the goth example. So all black metal fans already should take offense from
Team Jacob. Na kya tha wo Team Edward?
Vampire's name, Team Vampire, Team Werewolf, and they're ostracizing each other, so they're going to be discriminated. Now, as far as denied service in local businesses, well, that's a New Jersey state issue. I don't see how Rutgers can do anything about that. Wait a minute, you don't want to date someone of a different caste, so Rutgers is somehow going to go in and say, no, you've got to sleep with this girl. You've got to sleep with this guy. It reminds me of people who say that it's transphobic if you won't sleep with a trans woman, you're transphobic. I said, well, if that's your definition of transphobic, fair enough. Just how verbal and physical attacks. Okay, I don't want to see verbal and physical attacks on behalf of caste, but where's the evidence of these verbal and physical attacks? It's very hard to find. Now, so we have some testimonials. So we get some individual cases where this happens. Somebody said, I can't marry a Dalit. Oh, wait, but that person wasn't discriminating. That person was Brahmin, and that person felt that the parents would never let them marry a Dalit. And the Brahmin student challenged his parents. What if I loved her? So wait, we're not talking about discrimination by a Rutgers student. We're talking about discrimination by a Rutgers student's parents. So if your parents are casteist, then you can't go to school at Rutgers? What are they going to do? They're going to turn back the parents' tuition.
That's another caste system. That's a caste system in itself.
A student.
This guy challenged his parents that I want to marry a Dalit girl, possibly if I love her. And the parents are casteist, but now you have to kick this guy out of school to teach his parents a lesson. So that ye caste nahi hua kya? This is not discrimination based on one's birth. I don't get it.
But what they're probably going to use these probably fake or probably correct examples or factual examples as is that, so see, this proves that there exists so much casteism in these NRI families. Therefore, why not give reservations to Dalits and just conclude that yes, they do face discrimination in other ways and in every possible way, even in NRI societies, even in American societies. So therefore, the reservation for them in Rutgers.
No, because I get where this will go, and like you said, and I also believe that will happen. Now, my main point is that if we're supposed to understand how this works, then we have to give it some time, I guess. And I think Professor Babonis is, hitting the nail on the head, that how do we address this kind of discrimination at all if it happens in one's bedroom? Like, how, if at all somebody's casteist, if they say that you can't marry outside your caste, forced endogamy, right? How do you, like, where do you go with that? How do you prove it is forced endogamy? If you happen to fall in love with a person of your caste or status, how do you know it's forced, and because the parents are casteist, that's why you're doing it? How do you even
This
know? How
is
do you?
this has extremely insane, insane and dangerous repercussions. And actually, only Professor Babonis is on the forefront of this fight, and no one else is going to be funded in India. So,
Exactly.
even Professor Babonis is not funded by the government.
It's professor. So the professor at Rutgers, this grown professor, his parents won't let him marry a Dalit, and we have no protections. I feel powerless. And wait a minute, you're a grown man, a professor. You're still worried about what your parents think, and
Yeah, here the counter argument is going to be social ostracization by other NRI upper caste Hindus. So, is that going to be a legitimate argument, Professor Lizard?
I don't know. I don't see. That's the thing. Like, this is now, I think they're testing it out. Okay. I think they already tested it with the California bill, which they saw didn't have a lot of teeth in it. So now they're going to test this out as a like a pilot project. Okay. They're going to find some instance of discrimination in the next few days. And they're going to say, see, we told you this happens. Okay. And then they're going to use it to file some kind of law in a blue state. I guess that's what's going to happen. And all this will happen is the people who are contributing most to the GDP, the Indian NRIs or Indian citizens, Hindu citizens of India, they will just migrate to the red states. So I guess this will increase the migration.
Or Dubai.
Yeah. I mean, anyway, what's the point of? Yeah. Anyway, move on. Yeah.
You can call your parents up. Excuse me, it's the dean from Rutgers engineering school. Sorry, I'm racially stereotyping that the Indian isn't engineering. Let me take that back. Hello, this is the dean from the Rutgers School of Physiotherapy. And one of our professors says that you won't let him marry a Dalit. Well, we here at Rutgers would really like him to be able to marry a Dalit. Like it's just crazy. No lower caste roommates. So I was looking at Adam. This is not university housing. This is landlord. Now, if you read the vignette, it doesn't say that they don't want lower caste people. It says that they don't want meat eaters. So let's see. I meat, fish, and eggs. Landlord doesn't enforce it. This is a vegetarian household.
Now, what are we going to do about this? Because, I mean, is there going to be no personal agency and choice about what kind of people I want to keep in my apartment? Is a Muslim also?
Veganism is not the future. I told you about this.
Is a Muslim Muslim man's going to be forced by Rutgers to have someone who's going to have pork in his household all day long?
Let's move on before.
I'm vegetarian, not Hindu. And the idea that upper caste is vegetarian, but lower caste eats beef, that's a ridiculous generalization. I mean, the most famous upper caste meat eater of all, Veer Savarkar, Vinayak Savarkar, was a meat eater. And, I'm sorry to say, but I doubt Gandhi, India's most famous vegetarian, I doubt that Gandhi would want to share a household. In fact, Gandhi refused to sit down to a meal with Savarkar in London at India House because Savarkar was serving prawns. And wait a minute, who was in the right here? Savarkar's in the right.
Gandhi was a bunny and Savarkar was a Brahmin.
A vegetarian household. Look, I don't want anyone cooking meat. I get annoyed when my neighbors barbecue because I live in an apartment and I have to smell through. We don't have air conditioning. I have the windows open and I have to smell their barbecued meat in my vegetarian apartment. And frankly, I'm annoyed. I'm not sure what the caste situation is there. We want to explore legal avenues, but couldn't because Rutgers has no mechanism. Well, wait a minute. This isn't Rutgers housing. That's vegetarian only housing. This is off-campus housing.
Obviously.
So, yeah. Okay, an undergraduate who identifies as Chamara Dalit caste. Okay, that sounds like an issue. This person tries to hide let's see, was it a his or her? I'm not sure. This person tries to hide caste identity because my family told me it's better not to tell people. Well, wait a minute. Who's the castist here? The castist is your family. I mean, no one at Rutgers said, "Oh, we don't want you here. You're a."
So what I'm
child
gathering
minority." No
so
one at
far,
Rutgers said,
what I'm gathering so far from Professor Babonas's analysis is that he's pinpointed in his fight and criticism to just Rutgers, because this is supposed to be all about inside Rutgers, what's happening inside Rutgers, right? But they have given every example from outside Rutgers. So obviously this paper deserves to be debunked on the basis of just that itself. But we are of course considering other repercussions as well. Professor
No,
Babonas
I
is
think,
absolutely
like I
laser
said,
focused.
this is a test case. But again,
Right. Exactly.
imagine if it fails so miserably to be logical within a small university. Imagine this whole country of US, they can't really enforce it. Now they can try again to do it like through legislation in a blue state or whatever, but I guess this is a beginning, and I think if after the election results they're going to try this more as legislation. That's
And I
the
think
plan.
whoever has filed counter reports and stuff, they are also doing a good job.
Yeah, of course.
You
And
acknowledge
main
you're
thing
not
is that
welcome.
I think this might be challenged in if such a law is enacted, I think it can be challenged in a court of law in the US. I think.
In our vegetarian household. Yes. So this is someone who is self-policing. There's no suggestion here that anyone at Rutgers. Okay, I love this one. Go eat with your Patel brothers. This is just as funny as when Rahul Gandhi was temporarily kicked out of Parliament for saying, all those Modis are thieves. Yeah, I guess Patel. I had to look it up. I mean, because I know Sardar Patel. I know there like Patels everywhere in India, but I didn't know that Patel was an OBC. I'm not that attuned to Indian affairs, whatever people may think. I just don't know that much. And so someone gave the insult, why don't y'all go find why don't y'all, it's very Indian, y'all, go find some of your Patel brothers and eat with them. All right, I guess that's not a polite thing to say. My name's Salvatore, and someone might say, hey, why don't you go with your Mario and Luigi and have a pizza? That's the level of insult that this seems to be. All right, we were at a protest. Okay, this is great because whenever a professor is at a protest, I'm always a bit suspicious because like as an associate professor, protests are for students, right? It's their campus. I really encourage student politics, but I stay out of it. Like, I think it's a bit beneath a professor to go to a protest. Generally, if a professor is going to a protest, it's because the professor's organizing a protest. I do wonder if this professor at Rutgers 20s is the same, what did we decide he was? I wonder if he's the same physical therapy, that was it, physical therapy professor who can't marry a Dalit. So let's go to our professor at Rutgers. We were at a protest regarding new anti-Muslim laws in India. Now, why they're protesting anti-Muslim laws in India, I'm not aware of these laws, but why they're protesting them in New Jersey, I'm not really sure. So someone yelled in Hindi. It was years ago now. How many years? He said this in the 2020s. I remember something like, whose children are you? I took it as a casteist remark, likely directed at some student nearby. So it's like the best example.
By this logic, Ravish Kumar should be in jail, man.
Well, maybe with Patel.
Yeah.
By this logic, Ravish Kumar goes on asking everyone, "Kon jaat ho?" Wow.
Anyone who asks for caste census also falls in the same category.
That is also Kon jaat ho Pro Max. What the hell?
Yeah. Right.
Go eat a pizza, Patel. Other than going to Pizza Patel, this is the most casteist thing we've seen. It happened years ago. I don't really remember when. And someone said something like, "Whose children are you?" Now the person may have been. Now I assume that's Hindi. I don't speak Hindi. He wasn't even sure what they said. Was it Kinke or Kiske? Don't ask me what that means. So he might have been asking, "Hey, I want to. I hear your parents are casteist and won't allow you to marry a Dalit. Whose children are you? Because I want to go complain about your parents." Like, there's nothing here. There's absolutely not.
But taking random posts from Reddit, how anecdotal is this going to get further? Aren't there even degrees of stupidity or insanity?
No, I'm
Nothing.
telling you, this is a
empty.
pilot project.
And of
They're
course,
just gonna see how people react. Maybe
Yeah.
this is a pilot project. They'll see if there's a overwhelming reaction. They might just keep it under wraps for the next few years.
Yeah, remember the phase and the obsession with confession pages of every college and university where every post was fake. That I got
Yeah,
rejected by this girl, that guy,
And
I slept
I
with this
used
girl,
to
that
read
guy.
them for the very juicy details anyway.
Yeah, but the
So
insanity was that so many people used to take those seriously and reply as if it's a real incident that happened.
yeah.
বাড়া কি যে আইকিউ ছোটবেলায় চাইল্ড নিউট্রিশনে বাড়া দাদুর বিচি খেয়ে বড় হয়েছিল কিনা কে জানে।
where are you? Because I want to go complain about your parents. Like, there's nothing here. There's absolutely nada, nothing. It's empty. And of course, whereas all these other things have been done. I wrote my whole paper on the California SB 403. So go back and read that again. Just a plug for the paper, Weaponization of Caste in America. I'm very proud of it. Tons of research went into it.
Yeah.
You can get it on the Indian Century Roundtable website if you check out our new papers on India, Russia. But if you check out the website, Weaponization of Caste in America is the previous paper on the website. But back to Audrey's. I'm sorry, Professor Trushke's. Oh, not her blocking me. Professor Trushke's paper here at Rutgers University. Okay, so other universities are doing it, so we should do it, right? It's all of this is astroturf. So what they do is, they get someone to do it, and then they say, you know what, Columbia did it, you should do it at Brandeis. Oh, Columbia and Brandeis did it, you should do it at Brown. This is how this astroturfing works. It's really hilarious because if you put up a resolution at a university saying, oh, we should end discrimination against people in my country are suffering. I'm a Ruthenian, and the Ruthenians have been suffering at the hands of the Romanians and the Hungarians for far too long.
Yeah.
Ruthenian rights, and you put up and who's going to say
Exactly.
What universities went?
Yeah, brilliant point. Imagine, therefore, Mr. Sociologist, if we take the historical injustice argument further in USA, imagine the rights that Scottish Americans and Irish Americans are supposed to get at the hands of British Americans.
Absolutely. And
the reparations.
They did face casteist remarks, racist remarks, not casteist remarks.
Italians as well.
Italians, all these people, they faced highly, apart from blacks and Latinos, every group was discriminated against in America, almost every group.
And they faced those discriminations in USA only.
Americans, everyone should ask for reparations, bro. Like Japanese Americans were put in internment camps, so totally like everyone asked for reparations now, or some kind of reservation or reparations
or positive discrimination. I don't see any reason to not give positive discrimination for Irish Americans and Scottish Americans.
Absolutely.
They say no, we don't want to protect Ruthenians at our university. Hungarians, Romanians, welcome, but Ruthenians go home. No university is going to say that. They just say, all right, well, you want to protect you, we'll protect you. And and it goes on, and it is it's
okay. Professor Lies-a-Lot, we have this recurring comment now from 2-3 people. How much is this going to be true or effective, and or are the people who are commenting these things mistaken when they say this, that they are doing these to control Hindus in America and probably as a threat to get their votes?
This is the Ramaswamy effect. I think this is the Ramaswamy effect, and it might just be deployed after, like, I think November. And you can't call it racist. Like I said, the reason they are embracing this global phenomenon thing is to to say that we're not discriminating against Hindus, specifically, because if they did do that, then that would fall totally under the existing laws of the US to get rid of such a law, right? So they are deliberately calling it a global. Abey bhai, global category hai, so you should put Japanese caste discrimination, you should put all forms of caste discrimination in every community in this report, right? You can't call it a global report and put only examples of Indians here.
Yes,
like the whole premise is so flawed. Right.
And what they are looking for as well, I think, among other things, is that global solidarity among different groups of people all over the world, so that it's a toolkit, so it's a sort of an algorithm thing as well.
I genuinely think even that is not the thing. I think these people are right, whoever commented that thing, Neener and others. I think they are right, because if they did want Burakumin Dalit solidarity, which they have done elsewhere, right? Okay. They did not at all address it here. They would have said that I'm pretty sure there are Burakumin in America, right? There are discriminated people of communities in America, I'm sure. So they could have brought these guys up and said that, you guys got discriminated on the basis of caste in Japan and India. So you guys should become friends and we should put some of this data here.
Right.
But
Right.
they seem to be only focused on Indian instances. So we were right
Yeah.
when we started off with this live stream, when we said, and I think our followers and friends here, they have said that this is to control a certain section of American society. This is how it is being done.
Yeah,
Because if
I
you
think
say where is the global instance? Where are the global instances?
Right,
you just
right,
write global and you name all Indians, right?
Right. Yeah.
It's just hilarious because this stuff is so artificial. It's purely manufactured outrage. Now, Trusky's name's not on this, but all the news reports say that it's associated with Audrey Trusky. If it's not, I apologize, Audrey. Namaskar. I'm sorry. But this stuff is just so hilarious. People take it seriously. They shouldn't. But people who are targeted, so if you're Hindu in New Jersey, definitely take this seriously. Go out and fight against this, because no one here actually cares about caste-based discrimination. What they actually care about is associating caste-based discrimination with Hindu students. That is the purpose of this proposed resolution.
Even he says it now.
Make Hindu students look and feel
Even he
bad.
said
Look bad in the eyes
Yeah. And no wonder he's on the Hindutva Watch website, no?
of others and feel bad about their own Hindu faith. That's just the reality. And if you're not sure about that, look who's behind this, or more importantly, look who's not behind this, right? Where they're hiding behind University Task Force, right? And they do give. There's Audrey right there. Okay, so her name is on this. But these are just like, look at the people who are doing this. Look up their names. See what they're up to. They're overwhelmingly, these are going to be people who are astroturfing a fake narrative that Hindus are facing discrimination based on caste, and so we need to protect these Hindus. And I guarantee you, none of these people actually want to protect Hindus. Hindus, good luck, namaskar, and good night.
Okay, यानी चलना शुरू हो गया तो अभी कॉपीराइट खाऊंगा. तो do you realize how important Salvatore Babones is? And this video of his has absolutely 0 views, even though he uploaded it hours back. I thought his channel was going to blow up. It didn't. I'm pretty surprised with that. Keith, how much is the...
Because he is on the list. It may not be happening. You get my point?
But the lack of academic learning is, I guess, a little more than we think.
It'll happen, I guess, because the content is great. I do watch some of his videos. It's not because it's not the quality of the content. I'm telling you, the reach is severely limited on many channels.
Okay. Now, my second last question for today is, someone asked me, I think, on some paper discussion day about on the Max Weber book discussion day, caste census, good or bad. I said that off the top of my head, at least, I think more data is always great, because I was thinking on the lines of, if we have more data, if people like Mr. Sociologist, Professor Babones, they have more data, they can show what truth is going on, who is discriminating against whom, and what commie policies have really solved what kind of discriminations. All those myths will be busted with more precise data. The reply I got, or actually the counter argument is, of course, that same data in the hands of anti-Hindu people is again a big problem. What's your opinion on this?
Caste census will, if done properly, will piss off everyone, almost everyone. Because every caste, abhi dekho, not just caste, I think there should be religion, caste, everything based census. I'm just saying what Rahul Gandhi says. Okay, I'm
as granular as possible. It's always, I think, good, but depends on who is it being used by.
I don't care who it is used by. I'll tell you what will happen. And this always happens, and that's why the Bihar caste census thing flopped. Okay, I'll tell you what happens. Every caste claims a certain percentage of population in a state. Okay, India mein nahi, but in a state, as we know, they claim 10%, 15%, whatever. Okay. Now, typically a caste like Yadav, Jat, they will claim around 15-20%, with Muslims around 10-15%. Okay.
Okay.
So that allows them to form that whole, that coalition politics that they do, caste coalition. Now there are Jatavs and other, dominant caste, Lingayats, this, that. Here we have Mahishos, we have Nomoshudros, we have Rajvanshis. Okay. Uh, Having said that, if we do an actual, like, I know a lot of Motua people who claim to have over 10 crore in population all over the world. Okay. But the official stats say that they are roughly 15 to 20 lakh all over.
Okay.
So this kind of number inflation is done by every caste, because the more numbers you have, the more BJP, Congress, Namazwadi, everyone will give you seats accordingly. Okay.
And Sanjay Dixit has made this point repeatedly that even Muslims do it. They inflate their numbers just to get appeasement.
Every ethnic group, every caste, any kind of political formation will inflate their numbers in a democracy. This is like, nobody says I actually have 2 members. Nobody says that. Okay. Even we might say that about our channel. Okay. So my point is that even if you do a caste census, proper caste census, with the central government, I don't think a lot of people are going to be happy. If anything, it will destroy caste politics in the long run.
This is Kushal Mehra's point as well.
It will piss off so many people. And if they see that, the other reason is why I want a religion and caste based policy following Sri Rahul Gandhi's suggestion. Okay, that this will also show a bunch of people why no political party cares for them. Okay. The political parties care only about certain religious communities. So that's why that will bring it to the forefront. Yeah, I don't think upper caste I think they might in a place like Uttar Pradesh. Upper caste hai kon? That is my biggest question. Perhaps Brahmin in certain parts, Rajputs in Rajasthan. I don't know who is an upper caste, but if that is the case, if they do have caste based parties, and I'm sure in UP they claim around 10%, so they do it where it matters. In West Bengal, for example, you won't see a lot, because in West Bengal everyone keeps quiet about it but does what they have to do, right? So that's there.
Now my updated second last question is that the Vishwasis, okay, who are from a different religion but claim to be lower caste, what is the official stand on them? And if there is a caste census, will they be considered lower caste persons or just Christians?
That also I don't know. I think there are court rulings that say that if you have changed your religion, you are not liable to be considered as a Hindu, as a lower caste anymore. So we have to understand how this, the whole framing, everything. So jaise tum bolte ho na, that there must be incentives, right? So if the government says that those who have converted for caste reasons, they will not be considered as a part of a caste, then how, I don't know how the reactions will be.
Now Nina is pointing out that Muslims are going
castes
into
like Gurjars, among whom Hindu and Muslim both exist. So there are castes like that. But then what will they do? Like, if you ask a Gurjar Muslim, are you a Gurjar or a Muslim? How will they respond to that? Or will they say we are Pasmanda Muslims who are Gurjars? I don't know. Like, how does this work? Right.
Do you remember recently when the OBC category is created by Mamata Banerjee, which predominantly had Muslims, that got thrown out by the courts?
77 caste of Muslims.
Yeah. So
and Calcutta High Court said there was no proper data supporting their inclusion. So Calcutta High Court cancelled the whole thing, and I think it has been upheld in the Supreme Court as well.
No, so has that been upheld on the basis of this claim that since they are Muslims, they can't be OBCs in the Hindu context?
No, that is not the claim. The claim was of backwardness, and there was no proper data on backwardness. So this wasn't that.
So it's a different problem altogether.
Conversely, there are rulings that say that because of the egalitarian nature of Islam and Christianity, people who have converted to these religions due to casteism cannot claim that they are indeed they are a part of SCST.
Of course.
So
Yes,
I
because you are made
guess,
in the image of God.
I guess if they can do a religion caste intersection, like जैसे Gurjar Muslim, okay, or so Gurjar Hindu, Gurjar Muslim, okay, and they say that okay, because the OBC benefits are going primarily to Gurjar Hindus, so the OBC benefits are also should be given to Gurjar Muslims. Now hear me out. Imagine if that happens, then perhaps what we can see is a competition between Hindu OBCs and Dalits with their counterparts in the other religions. Okay,
Right.
so we'll have to understand how that pans out. Okay, I think I think religion caste intersection is very important, and I think everyone should be, at least initially, everyone should be promised all kinds of benefits. So
and
because
check
that's
out
the fair thing to do. That is the fair thing to do.
are fair. Check out Hindu Vichardhara's comment on
You
the
know
screen.
how
Okay?
I mean, right? You can understand from my tone anyway. So yeah, exactly. You have no logic, like how yeah, India mein hi one caste is qualified as Dalit in one state and general caste in another state. How can you have the same, how can you extrapolate that logic into America?
Yeah,
Like imagine a Gurjar, imagine a Gurjar from Gujarat goes to the US, then he can't claim discrimination. But a Gurjar from Jammu and Kashmir goes and he claims discrimination. What if the Gurjar from Gujarat discriminates against the Gujarat from J&K?
check this
Then
out. This is Declan Quigley.
Yes, exactly.
So same way, I would have been scheduled caste, but I'm not. I'm general caste because my grandparents suffered partition and sold gamchas here. Therefore, I am more privileged than the alcohol sellers of Kolkata.
So by that logic, a Saha of a lower, officially lower caste could claim that you have you're a vegan, totally.
No, luckily not most of the times these days. I don't consume meat, but yes, I do consume eggs once in a while.
Chobio, you are discriminating by asking for vegetarianism. Bas, khatam, gaya, finish.
Yeah.
To quote Rahul Gandhi. I am a big Rahul Gandhi fan these days. Anyway.
Yeah.
So
and Ghoti Shahas are so rich. The Bangal Shahas are general caste and they are scheduled castes. Who came up with these things? Yeah, Nina is saying, I thought Shah was Bania. Yes, Shah is historically Bania, conceptually Bania, ritually Bania. But we sold gamchas, they sold alcohol, but the ones sitting in Kolkata for generations, they were the ones who got the scheduled castes, not us. Okay, the last question is going to be, I think, a little provocative for some people. So, is there really something distinct about Brahmins and mainly Tamil Brahmins? If so, if they do have some privilege in their upbringing, specifically, we are talking about, how do we get that in other families? How to have a Vivek Ramaswamy in every family?
This has nothing to do with him being like genetically superior as a Brahmin in any way.
Right.
This just means that he studied, his parents told him to study more. I guess he listened to them. He wanted to do something in life. That now I don't know, like that's the whole thing, right? Like why do Tambrams, and again these are people who face the anti-Brahmin caste movements in Tamil Nadu, right? So aisa nahi hai ki they
are the oppressed ones
and enjoy. In fact, Bengali Brahmins are more privileged that way compared to Tamil Brahmins. Because Bengali Brahmins have never faced outright like discrimination based on their Brahmin identity.
Yeah, remember? You were in the audience that day, I think. Oh no, you went off. We have a viewer here, a libertarian. By just talking to him for 2 minutes on the audience interaction, I figured out that he's a Tamil Brahmin, and I asked to confirm with him, and he said, "No, I don't like to call myself Brahmin. I am an Iyengar." He tried to skirt the issue. So they have kind of this guilt of some sort, which Bengali Brahmins don't even have, because they are great commies who are saviors of poor people. So
But
Jesai
they,
Deepak Anandangan.
who suppressed the genocide of Dalits in West Bengal, and who is facing the anti Brahmin movement? Yeah, Tamil Brahmins are facing this, and I guess they're, I don't want to. Anyway, forget it. I don't want to say a lot of things. Anyway, forget it. I'll just say that Bengali Brahmins are very happy and powerful, and they are nice people. Anyway.
No, but how to have Vivek Ramaswamy, Jesai Deepak Anandangan? Would you agree with my claim that they are kind of
I was
better?
going to draw an example, but if I draw that, a lot of people might get like not people who like this argument. A lot of people who are perhaps kind of loosely on the side that you represent. Perhaps you do not represent any side. I don't know. This is very weird. It's like when Jews got discriminated against everywhere in Europe and the Middle East, and they went to the US and Israel and all the other parts, and they did really well, right? So exactly what I was going to say.
Probably,
so I guess that worked. Even if you see the Brahmins of West Bengal, it's the Bangals who have done better. The people who came from outside and had to build their careers, they became more successful, I would say, compared to the Brahmins of Rarbongo. Okay, in terms of if you say academic achievements and all. Okay.
So you see, age-old customs and teachings in our society, like not complaining and just working hard. These are the things that are basically universal and have helped these communities.
Niner makes a good point. Like, then Dalits did not perform. I think we have to add one more factor to Shekhar's comment here.
Right.
That
good point.
Is people who had to migrate. They are the
Exodus
ones.
system.
Whoever had to migrate seems to be because the Tamil Brahmins had to migrate a lot, right? Because of the anti-Brahmin movements of Tamil Nadu. So the migrants are the ones who did well, it seems. Same for Jews who had to escape from Nazi death camps and go elsewhere, right? So that's the thing.
So if you want Batman in every household, remember their parents have to be killed.
Don't say that. What are you saying, man? You gotta edit it out.
Yeah. Okay then. A very dark podcast today.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Yeah. Thank you for joining, guys. Bye. Good night.
श्रवरूढं महाभीमं गुणाद्रष्टाम्बरप्रदम् अस्य युक्तं त्रिनेत्रं च कपालकर्णिकाकरां मुक्तकेशिं ललज्जयं पिबन्तीं रुधिरं चतुर्बाहु समायुक्तं वराभयकरं स्मरेत् चतुर्बाहु समायुक्तं वराभयकरं स्मरेत् काली महाकाली कालिके पापहारिणी धर्मर्थमोक्षदे देवी नारायणी नमोस्तुते धर्मर्थमोक्षदे देवी नारायणी नमोस्तुते काली